BRICS is here. It's no longer time to start talking about what we can do to stop these countries from taking over and save our economy. No, guys, it's time to look at the situation as it is. De-dollarization is coming, CBDCs are coming, tokenization is coming, digital IDs are coming. It's an entirely new infrastructure. And Lynette Zang, in this video clip here from our interview that's coming out, the full interview on Monday, you're going to find out a lot more about these topics and why you really need to start preparing.
I'm not a financial advisor.
In the meantime, you started out talking about standard of living. And in the US, we enjoyed this huge privilege because of what's happening, because we linked our currency directly to Saudi Arabia with the petrodollar.
Right.
We were about to give up the world reserve status before that. And with the BRICS nation and Saudi Arabia joining the BRICS, and I know that there was a rumor, and I'm digging into this, that came out a couple of days ago as far as this document not being signed. So I'll do a piece on it, but I got to dig more because I
have some info. I know a lot of stuff about Saudi Arabia and BRICS. If you want to, what we're referring to.
Well, where the 50-year agreement between
Right.
Saudi Arabia and the U.S., and then Saudi Arabia did not re-sign that agreement.
Yeah.
But, you know, the U.S. dollar has been losing its status as the world reserve currency for a long time. These things don't happen easily, but they have or quickly, I should say, rather.
We've been hearing it forever. We've been hearing, like, I'm sure you know, is it Stansbury Research? Is that the name of the place? That they're always like, the world is ending, the dollar is dead. And they've been doing it for 30 or 40 years. And it's like, I heard that stuff so much. And at first when I'd hear it, they'd put on an XM radio ad like early on. And I'd be like, oh my God, this sounds terrible. The world's, oh my gosh, let me look up this website. And you go and they just try to sell you a newsletter and they're not actually trying to tell you anything. And it makes you feel like all this stuff, people saying, oh, the world's economy is going down, that it's all people crying wolf and it's all, it's not going to happen. But you've got to remember what we keep talking about. It's got to happen slowly over time so that the frog doesn't realize it's getting boiled in the water.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, it was in late 2000, December, around Christmas time, actually, when the Federal Reserve first in 2000 that started buying the debt of the U.S. government.
Right.
Wait a minute. Nobody talked about it in 2000, and they've been doing it consistently. They didn't talk about it until 2008, 2009. And now all of a sudden, even though that's what a third world country has to do because they can't attract enough money to buy their debt, now it's like everybody's doing it, right? Now it's out in the open and it's supposed to be a good thing. And yet it is a real indication of where we are in the trend cycle. And that is the thing that I do. I've been studying currency life cycles since 1987. Thank you very much, Shearson, because my education came from the head of currency trading in the 80s, right? And when you start digging into it, you start looking at fiat money, which is government-backed money. Mm-hmm. And you see a repeatable pattern. These things that happen every single time we transition from one currency mechanism into the next currency mechanism. And all of them are happening. And not only that, I've been talking about the reset since 2009 after I listened to a Bloomberg interview with Christine Lagarde, who was the head of the ECB.
Central bank. Yeah.
Now the head of
wait, did she the IMF? She have my IMF now?
And she's back again. Yeah, she went to the head of the IMF. You're right. Then now she's at the ECB.
Well, yeah, that's all it was. Yeah, she transitioned. Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Well, because it's just a revolving door.
It's not right. Facilitators. It doesn't matter where they're at. They're all doing the same job.
Exactly. They're all doing the same job. But in that little 20-minute interview, she used the term reset at least 28, 29 times. And I was gobsmacked. I was just like, okay. I knew the system died in 2008. When she came on in 2009 and started talking about that, and then China came out that same year and said, what about the SDR? What about the SDR? Which has been around since 69. people in the US need to understand that there is a mechanism that is already in place and has been tested, and it's called the substitution fund. So any country that is sitting on dollar-denominated assets, bonds, currencies, products, whatever, can deposit them in this substitution, and then they get washed and converted into SDR-denominated assets or instruments. What that does in theory, then the IMF can regulate the rate and speed at which those dollars go back to the US. Therefore, I don't think it's going to work, but this is the theory. Attempting to regulate the rate and speed of inflation so that the US public doesn't realize what's going on. But what it also does in that moment is it converts the SDR into a bigger global reserve currency. It's already a reserve currency. Everybody's had some since 1969. If you go to USPS, the US Postal Service, and you put in the search bar SDR, you're going to see it comes up. So it's been used internationally since 69. They don't need to recreate the wheel. They just need to expand that wheel and the overview. That's why they're working on the universal currency. They've been working on that since 69, for goodness sakes. So there's a lot that's happening, and the US has been losing its status for quite some time, when in 2000 they couldn't attract enough buyers of our debt. Now the Federal Reserve is the key buyer of our debt. To tell you the truth, wasn't Ernest Hemingway, when they asked, well, how did you go bankrupt? And he said, slowly at first, then fast. That's the way these things happen. So you don't have the time or the opportunity to get prepared.
Today has been absolutely a fantastic interview. I think my audience is going to get so much out of this. I didn't even get into really a lot of the BRICS stuff. There's 59 countries joining BRICS. 28 of them now have like financial interest. They're putting money in the new development bank. Like, they're moving forward. Like, this is getting really strong. I think there's about 200 countries that compete in the Olympics. Now we've got like 60 countries saying they want to join BRICS. Like, they've got their own BRICS games now. So this is stuff I want to talk about with you, because I do think this is the emergence of this kind of dual economy that's going to push us back towards one world currency eventually. That's kind of, I think,
no doubt.
You see it, yeah. So, but thanks for coming on, Lynette. Tell everybody where they can find you at, and where people can find more information about gold that you're talking about, because I know it's something you really like to teach people on. So where can people go to get educated about that and find more about you?
Well, they can go to LynetteZang.com. I really publish quite a bit of information on our YouTube channel, and the address at Twitter is the same, at the Lynette Zang. Instagram and Facebook is at Lynette Zang. And we have the best number in the world, which is 833 GLDZANG.
There you go.
Oh, I can translate that, but it's 833-453-9264. And what we help people do is establish goals and circumstances, and then help them build their sound money portfolio. But we also support them in all the rest of the levels of the mantra: food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter. And I'm here with you to help build community, because together, even though one person is not going to make that big of a difference, but together, I 100% know we can make a positive difference for a lot of people.
Absolutely. I love it. And I think that the world is changing. It's changing in front of people's eyes. It's going to look a lot different in 20, 30 years, no matter what. Whether there's a revolution and people change, or we go back to privacy and self-sovereignty, or whether we move to a place where CBDCs are everything and everything's controlled, but we're heading to one of those, to a new world. And it's just, how bad is it going to be? Or how good is it going to be? I think we all have a role in determining that, and we got to put our foot down somewhere. So thanks for joining us, Lynette. Can't wait to get this interview out and see what my audience thinks. And everybody, thanks for joining us. And Lynette, we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.